said that India is unlikely to immediately stop all crude oil purchases from Russia following the India-US trade deal. The ratings agency warned that a sudden halt could disrupt India's economic growth and may have inflationary effects. Moody's noted that while India has reduced crude oil purchases from Russia in recent months, it is unlikely to cease all imports at once. The agency also said that sectors such as pharmaceuticals and consumer electronics, which were earlier exempt from the 50% high tariffs, are unlikely to be affected by the tariff reduction. So let me go across to Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh, obviously you have been stating we are not going into speculation, but we are looking at the larger picture here. India-US relations, which were a little strained, are now finally seeing some kind of thaw. We are seeing reduction in these tariffs. That's why this is of significance. That's why this is of importance. Obviously, there will be some kind of statements coming out because Trump has mentioned that India will stop buying US oil. India will look towards Venezuela. He has also stated that American-made goods will see 0% tariffs. So these are some sticking points that have in fact spooked a lot of experts, a lot of analysts. But when we are looking at it overall, this reduction in tariffs is something that the Indian markets were waiting for. This is something that the Indian traders, Indian industries was waiting for. Moody is over here is stating that it's unlikely, and everybody, in fact, most of the experts are of the view that it is unlikely that India will forego all kind of Russian crude oil purchases, because this is something that we have done obviously to maintain a relation with Russia as well.
You see, Shivani, it's a welcome step, and every one of us is hailing the announcement of the deal. No doubt it's a good step for India's interest, for US interest. But while agreeing with Rajiv and Yatish, I would like to add a couple of points. The first point is EU-India deal has facilitated the US-India deal. When we analyze the statements of US Trade Representative Geer and US Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent, it is very clear that US might have thought that if US does not enter in a deal with India, US will miss the bus. I think that is one of the most important facilitating factors, certainly. But beyond that, what has happened is the way deal has been worked out, and you have rightly mentioned that India will impose only, will be charging only 0 tariff on American imports. That's not the clear on which items India will charge 0 tariff, and on other items how much India will charge the tariff. That is not clear. So the details of the deal are not out, and the finance ministry's statement is a general statement. They have not divulged any information, terms and conditions, and still I personally feel there are so many nuances. These will be worked out through the negotiating skills of the Indian side. I think so many things are still to work out in the operational aspect of the deal, and I'm sure our negotiating skill will be appropriate to deal with the United States. But I would like to add a couple of things. What India is expecting from United States, it was made clear February 2025 in the joint statement. Why conceptualizing two? One is the trust and the compact concept under which they have put so many things, what India is going to import from United States, what United States is expecting. But beyond that, if we are trying to calculate the cost effectiveness of the trade agreement, cost effectiveness for United States, cost effectiveness for the India, not only in economic and financial terms, but also in geostrategic and political terms. These are, of course, not quantifiable. But while we are dealing in the international relations, India is becoming a major player in international affairs. We shall have to calculate in the wider context the cost effectiveness of the deal. And the last point which I would like to make, Shivani, is Indian economy is at the critical juncture right at the moment. It is on the takeoff stage towards the advanced economy. For India, it is more important than United States. So we shall have to very carefully or very tactfully negotiate with the American side in the operational aspect of the deal. Otherwise, details will not carry much meaning. So, from that point of view, we should assess the deal when it comes out, and thereafter we shall have to calculate exactly how far India will be gainer, how far United States will be gainer. Definitely, $500 billion trade was already envisaged in February 2025 by 2030. So it's the 5-year plan for the $500 billion. But beyond that, there was a vision of 25 to 35 that was also mentioned in the joint statement. So how this deal will boost that the 10 years vision of India-US partnership and US India cooperation. So we shall have to calculate this, all these things while assessing the cost effectiveness of the deal. And beyond that, one more point I would like to add, Shivani, about the India's farming sector. And this is the bone of contention, not today, even during the Dunkel proposals, when GATT round of talks were taking place, ultimately it was culminated into the WTO. So it's the old issue of the farming community. So how the Indian farming community's interest will be protected, that must be the top priority of the government of India. I think the government of India kept it at its top priority in the beginning of the talks for the deal. But at this stage, I don't know what will be the position of, because since Trump is saying, and even there is in the news and some reports in the media that American farmers will get Indian market. So how the American agri products will be dumped into India, or how much India will charge the tariff on the American agro goods, that is a highly sensitive, political, and very important issue for India. Over it, Shivani.
Absolutely, sir. In fact, agriculture has always been India's red line. We'll see how it deals with US on that matter. But US lawmakers have in fact welcomed the new trade deal between the United States and India, calling it a reset in ties